As I look into my community and I see the regulation that has been coming down from bureaucratic halls, not from elected officials. Government by the people. We should be ashamed of ourselves. Ashamed of what we have allowed our country to become, and ashamed of the fact that we have been asleep at the switch for far too many years. We have allowed a federal government to grow to where it wants to dictate our education system, our farming, our communities, our lives, the way that we live out our lives, and the ability of us to do the things that we want to do to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness within our own communities. And we must strive forward to take every ounce of our government back. Okay, I am the radical one. California's government has laid down a foundation of indebtedness and overspending that is jeopardizing the public safety within our own communities. The biggest threat that we all face here is not from the federal government, not from the state government, it's from debt. The debt that is draining away the manpower that we need to protect our communities, the debt that is drawing away the dollars that we need to put people on the street, to provide the safety and security within our communities. That debt is crushing this state and harming our communities. That debt that we allow it because we vote people back in every single time that continue to give us the same problems, and we should be ashamed. Eisenhower said these words: as we peer into society's future, we, you and I, and our government must avoid the impulse to live only for today, plundering for our own ease and convenience the precious resources of tomorrow. We cannot mortgage the material assets of our grandchildren without risking the loss also of their political and spiritual heritage. We want democracy to survive in all its greatness, to come not to become the insolvent phantom of tomorrow. And we have done just that. When we look at the national debt and we say to each individual on this planet that our grandchildren are burdened with $49,000 worth of debt at the moment of their birth, that we have enslaved and have bound our children and grandchildren to a life of servitude, of paying for our overindulgence, for our envy, for our greed, for our wastefulness, for my generation's choices that we have made. These choices cannot be tolerated. And the difference is that we must pay the price. We are going to be entering a time of tumultude, of difficulty, of choices that we must make that are going to be very hard for our communities. And we must bound together because we have that choice. Which direction do we take? Do we take the way that most societies have gone? Most of the world spends their life in despotism. They spend their life in theocracies, in large functional governments, whether they be socialist, communist, whether they be other governments where they take all that you make and then decide what you will have. Will we, through our struggles, decide that that is the road we want to go down? Or do we once again choose, like our founding fathers chose, when facing the same threats from King George? Do we choose, no, that the great experiment will not fail, that on our march we will continue, that man can rule himself. And with God's grace, God's guidance, and God's help, we can take this country to where it needs to be. Thank you so much.